What's this? Right. What? Jesus, Mary and Joseph and the wee donkey. How the hell are they making a third episode? Won't someone please tell them to stop? Okay, well it says here that on this week's episode they're going to waffle on about the never-ending dribble of a driving game, Forza. Get a real car, you nerds! Apparently, Dan has listened to a new album from ABBA? More bloody ABBA? Those Swedish so-called pop stars are back. Oh, you remember? They won Eurovision way back in the day. Well, we left Europe and they're still here trying to make us listen to their bloody music. Is this the Brexit that you voted for? Sort it out, Boris. Another pointless quiz. Oh, give me strength. They'll probably wank on about more TV bullshit later in the episode. Ooh, and apparently there's another guest interview lined up. Can't be any worse than the last bloody episode. And some drivel about toxic fandom. Maybe they'll get to that. Who knows? Saying that might be one thing I could get behind. Roll the bloody intro theme!
Oh, well, he sounded really pissed off. I am not sure that getting that voiceover company in to help us with the intros was such a good idea after all, to be honest.
No, I quite agree. It's definitely giving off the wrong vibe of our happily family-orientated podcast.
Yeah. We need to dial down the rage, I think, on the next one.
Hopefully we haven't paid them. We can't afford anything.
No. We pay them in good wishes and exposure.
So what he neglected to say was that we may have another interview, unless you're going to let me down as well, Mark.
Do you know, I've been working for ages on this one. Lots of emails via the person's publicist. It's taken a few weeks, but we're finally here, and it gives me great pleasure to finally be able to introduce our interview this week. It's the winner of the latest International Mime Championship, Donovan Galahad. Donovan, welcome to the show. You must be really proud of your win. Bollocks. Okay, let's move on.
You didn't think that one through?
No.
Yeah, mime on. Said it'd be good.
Yep.
He just sits there.
You can see
silent.
how he won the prize. You can see how he won the prize. Because that was some top quality miming just there.
Oh, God.
Right, okay. Well, let's move on.
Yeah, let's move on. Let's talk about the fact that we've come back again.
Yes. I mean, still, amazingly, no one's telling us to stop.
And at the time of us sitting down to actually get on with this, we hit 100 downloads across the 3 episodes.
We did. Which is, when we started this, to be perfectly honest, I had absolutely no expectations. I had no idea what would be a good start or a slow start. But, 3 episodes in, we're over 100 downloads in total. Interestingly, the early episodes are still getting downloads as well, which is encouraging.
So thank you. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Please, share, like, subscribe, send the link to 2 or 3 friends. If everyone can do that and one of those 2 or 3 friends also downloads, fantastic.
We'll be sponsored by Squarespace in no time.
Absolutely. Can't wait. I've got the script ready and everything. So, what's been going on this week? Anything you've been listening to or watching this week?
So, a few things. So, a few new TV has come out. So, I'll start on that second.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's the logical way of doing things. Tell you about the thing, and I'll come back to the thing. I did mention in the last episode that I was going to subject myself to some music I don't usually listen to.
Oh, yes.
I lied. I've always listened to ABBA, and I finally realised that, yes, Abba Voyage is now out and ready to get in your ear holes. So ABBA have finally reunited, however the song goes, which isn't theirs either. It's just a fun.
We're gonna have to cut that because of
Mark
royalties.
To cut out, and he does the edit. So ABBA have finally got back together and reunited properly, not just for PR nonsense for Mamma Mia. They've actually got back together, and aside from the live show in quotes they're putting on in London from next year for, they say, 7 years, they have released their 9th studio album. It's entitled Voyage. And, I've been quite looking forward to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I happened to have a nice long car ride the other day, so I thought, you know what, I'm going to put it on.
Mm-hmm.
37 minutes. Half of that I'm not going to get back. The other half I quite enjoyed.
Okay, so I've not listened to it. Kind of, obviously, everyone knows ABBA, and everyone's got their favourite songs, and they're kind of fine, inoffensive, and all that business. I wouldn't class myself as a huge fan. I've not listened to the album yet. I'm sure I will do at some point. But the reviews have definitely been, let's say, mixed. Would be putting it generously.
And mine can be added to that purely because I thought it was going to be quite ABBA. You know, that sounds really silly, but pardon me. I've
Leaving that one in.
And mine can be added to that only because I thought it was going to be quite ABBA in the sense of, you know, full of synth. But this isn't the 70s anymore, you know.
No.
And there's a few songs on there that are quintessential ABBA tunes, and some of them are quite slowed down and almost ballady.
Okay.
Not the pop iconic songs that you know. It's good. It's nice to hear music from a band that turned down $1 billion to ever form again.
Yeah.
And
I wonder
that
then
was
what's-
but that was 21 years ago.
I wonder other than time. I wonder what's changed their mind, because they're clearly going to be earning royalties from the previous music till the end of time.
And
They're not
that
short of
can't
money.
be bad.
Yeah, that's got what a place to be. So that can't be, money can't be the reason.
Well, it goes deeper than that, mind, because, like you say, I wonder what's changed. But it's unfortunate that Agnetha and Annie Fried don't want to be part of any of the PR at all. It's just Bjorn and Benny. And even when they open the live hologram show next year, the ladies have said that they don't want to be a part of it, which is a shame, because that really does sound like we'll never get an actual ABBA show again. It's just going to be this VR thing that can tour for decades after they've gone. Like I say, it's worth a listen. If you're a diehard ABBA fan, you'll probably just be grateful that they're doing new music. It's a bit like Ozzy Osbourne, you know, for the metal community. Oh, he's done another album. It's the same nonsense, but you're just glad he's still putting out music. Yeah. So, go listen to it. It was okay. Another point to bring out about the album is that there's some demo stuff that has now been fully studioed, if you like, to make it to the album. So it has been in the works for a very long time, and I'm not calling myself a musician, but I can play instruments, and I understand that if you're a professional musician and you have music in your head, you just get it out, because you never know when it's going to come in handy, and I feel that has happened with this album. But again, it seems to be on the way to a number one, and it'll be...
Well, I think that would be a given anyway, wouldn't it?
You may notice a slight change in audio quality. We did have some technical difficulties recording this episode, but normal business will now resume. With the new album, Abba Voyage, they are now going to be doing a live show to begin in May 2022 in London, and they're not going to be there. They're going to be avatars.
That explains the motion capture suit things that I've seen on all the pictures then.
Exactly.
Gotcha. Okay.
But yeah, tickets are on sale for that now. We've not been invited. There's a surprise.
Didn't want to go anyway. That's
No,
fine.
I looked at it. It's relatively inexpensive for a show, but again, it's got a live band, but they're not there.
Yeah, I think if I was travelling, down south or anywhere really to see a live show, I'd want to see the people who are actually singing the songs. Otherwise, I'd just go to an ABBA tribute band at a working men's club.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? Why go to a concert and pay whatever it might be and accommodation and travel if they're not even going to be there?
You're not wrong there at all.
Even if it's cheap, I'd still. Do you know what I mean? I'd still expect them to turn up. It might be nice.
Have you been listening to any new records in the last?
I haven't. No, I've been spending most of the last few days playing Forza Horizon 5 on Xbox, which has just been released as we recorded this. It came out on the 5th of November for people who pre-ordered the game, and on the 9th for everyone else. As a fantastic incentive, if you have Xbox Game Pass, it's available on there, included in the monthly subscription. Which,
at launch,
at launch, yeah.
Microsoft
It's
is
the
really
standard
plugging
edition
this now.
No, it's I love Xbox Game Pass as a deal, but the fact that a game like this, Game Pass is great in that it gets you a lot of older catalog games,
Sure.
but for such a high profile, like first party big title to hit on day one doesn't happen very often. So the fact you can grab the game for essentially free, is a hell of a deal. So Forza is the kind of Microsoft's Xbox exclusive racing franchise. There's kind of two strands. There's Forza Motorsport, which is fairly unforgiving and quite difficult.
It's very much aimed at the professional sim racers of the world, isn't it? I remember Forza Motorsport 1 or 2, I think, at the time I had my 360, and you could sort of get by on that, but as it got more and more advanced, I started playing it going, this isn't a game.
No.
I can't do this.
It is a challenge.
Like you say, unforgiving is exactly the right way to describe that bloody game.
Yeah. Whereas Forza Horizon is more kind of arcadey, free roaming. Forza Motorsport, as the name suggests, sticks to, racetracks, street racing, things like that. Whereas Horizon kind of goes off. Each game is set in a different country. So this one is in Mexico. Previously, they've been in Scotland, Australia, and so on. So you get a huge variety of different tracks, kind of jungle stuff, desert stuff, off-road, street racing, loads of different cars, 4x4s and all that kind of thing. It's just great fun. It's really great fun.
Now, I know you have an Xbox Series X.
Yes.
How does it look on your setup, which, as we've spoken about in the past, is not an entry-level setup by any means, but compared to, as you said, you're a fan of the series, how does it look in comparison to 3 or 4, for example?
In comparison to 4, I'd say it's a relatively minor visual upgrade. It's one of those ones where you know it looks better, you just can't quite put your finger on it. Is the best way I can describe it. For Series X, and I think for Series S as well, there's basically a couple of options. There's quality mode, which is locked at 30 frames a second, but has all the visual tweaks dialed up to full, so it looks incredible. The kind of shadows, reflections, draw distance, detail, etc., up to the max, and it's locked at 30 frames a second, and it's rock solid stable. And even at 30 frames a second, it's extremely smooth. That's the setting I have it on. The other option is the performance option, which is slightly lower fine detail and whatnot. Things are dialed down a little bit visually, but it runs at a locked 60 frames a second, so even smoother. So you can kind of take your pick, really, in terms of what your preference is.
That's pretty cool.
It is. So it looks better than 4. It looks a lot better than 3, obviously, as the generations go back. It's just the little things, just little, obviously, finer detail. The models are more detailed, the cars, etc. Things like, blades of grass, individual pebbles and whatnot kind of flying around.
That's really...
It is. Now, I've got a Series X, which is the top of the range machine, but from the reviews I've read online, it scales very well down through the old generations.
Because that's why I'm asking, because as I haven't upgraded to the newest gen. Yeah. However, Horizon has been my Forza of choice, because I'm not into the uber realistic racing. I want to tinker. I want to have a bit of fun. I don't want to get stressed out playing a game. That's not what they're for.
That's it. So from what I've read, it scales very well. So obviously it will download the appropriate textures and whatnot for the machine you're on. So if you're on an S or an S series machine, it'll download like the ultra high quality, what do they call them?
Texture packs.
Yeah, the textures and the kind of models and all that kind of thing. And then for the 1X or the 1S, it will go for the next one down and so on. So apparently, it plays very well across all generations, and it's kind of very finely tuned and scalable to those different machines. So
that's awesome.
Everyone playing on their console of choice will get the best possible experience for that console. And obviously, if you buy the game as a 1X owner, and then upgrade to get a Series X, it will re-download the game to the Series X with all the top quality texture packs and everything. So
I like
as
where
you
Microsoft
upgrade,
are going with this. I really do.
the kind of backwards compatibility thing that they've got now is just, from a user perspective, it's pretty seamless, to be honest, But I can't imagine that the kind of work that goes on in the background, that where if you've got, which, not only can it play, games from right back to the original Xbox, which is now 20 years old, but depending on which model you have now, it will download the right version or the optimal version for your machine.
But also, it's if you think about it, it's a loss of revenue for them, because so if you've bought it for the older gen console, which is not the grade AAA console they want you to play it on. Let's think about GTA 5 and how many releases that had. That came out first on the 360.
Mm-hmm.
Then it came out for, I think, whatever the next gen was, and then it came out for PC, and now it's been remastered, and you have to buy it, 50 odd quid each time.
Mm-hmm.
Microsoft aren't doing that with their titles, which is brave.
Yep.
But at the same time, with Game Pass, they know they're going to get a steady, maybe 15 quid a month off a gamer.
Yeah.
And Game Pass Ultimate is phenomenal if you tie it in with a gaming PC.
Yeah.
I had it for a while, and I was blown away at what I could play on my computer versus my Xbox. But I digress.
No, you're right though. The kind of clearly risking that they'll lose some. I guess it's the thing of they might lose some initial revenue because they're not having that 50 quid every time you buy a new machine. You have to rebuy the same game again. You just sign into your new Xbox and it will just re-download everything you've got on the old one, right? And you get a free graphical upgrade for the game, etc.
It's brilliant.
So,
absolutely brilliant.
Brilliant. But what that does is that makes the console more attractive to buyers. That then locks them in for the long term.
Yeah, I've already bought this game. Why should I upgrade? Well, because you'll get it again, but better. Oh, okay, fair enough.
That's it. You get a free visual upgrade, and it'll match the console's capabilities.
If you can
so
get
they're
it
playing
in
the long
stock.
game there. Well, yeah, okay. So I think they're playing the long game. I think then they're doing a really good job of it. But yes, that's what I've been up to this week. Because of that, I've not really been watching any TV or anything. So what's going on in the telly world?
So I had a very busy weekend catching up on What We Do in the Shadows Series 3, which I'd completely forgotten had come out. And thankfully, because the BBC is awesome, pay your licence fee, kids, they released it all on iPlayer.
Right, brilliant.
So there's, 10 episodes at 20 minutes a pop, and yeah, it didn't last very long. It's just, if you're a fan of the original film by Taika Waititi and Jermaine Clement, this is just that and then some. If you've never watched it, just do yourself a favour and go watch it, even if you haven't seen the original film, because the series is just bloody hilarious. It's a mockumentary following a group of vampires living in New York. It stars Matt Berry, Kaivan Novak, and Natasha Dimitriou, whose brother is Stath in Stath Lets Flats. Just if you
Jamie Dimitriou, yeah,
exactly,
yeah.
And it's just brilliant. It's so tongue in cheek, a very British comedy, even though it's made for America, written and directed by mostly New Zealand folk. But Taika and Jermaine brought it to telly.
Yes.
This series didn't really follow much of the main arc of the story. They just had a bit more fun.
Okay.
Won't give any spoilers away, but it was just a good laugh.
Okay. I love the original film, and I've seen a few episodes of the TV show, which again I love. It's just one of those ones where there's so many shows to watch. It's just on the back burner list right now. But yeah. I thought Matt Berry kills me every time. I think he's fantastic. So it's definitely one I'm going to watch. And have you also seen the spin-off, Wellington Paranormal?
It's funny you should mention that, because I was going to suggest that... I was going to say that our listeners don't watch that. I tried to get into it, and I really struggled.
Okay.
I gave it, I think, the first series,
Right.
and it had some funny parts, but I
Okay.
don't think I've got to the point where it took off, if that makes sense.
No, that's fair enough.
It wasn't for me.
I enjoyed it, but yeah, I know what you mean. It's when you compare it to what we do in the shadows, it's some big shoes to fill. So
Like I say, they're relatively short, but they are well worth the investment. And this series, some of the gags in it are just, I was crying. So good.
Okay.
So good.
I need to catch up on it then, clearly. But yeah, I am going to do that at some point because it is a film and a show that I do enjoy. So I'll definitely get up with that one.
And the other series that came back for a new season was the Netflix adult animated comedy Big Mouth.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Ah, Jesus wept. I thought they couldn't go any weirder, and they did. And again, that didn't last particularly long, but oh Christ, this is a series that should stop, but you're always going to be dragged back into it. Do you think, what the hell could they do now?
Yeah, I've seen the first couple of seasons, and yeah, it's weird. I mean, it's funny. It is funny, and some of the stuff is kind of very. You think it's a cartoon show, kind of voiced by adults, but about a group of kids, right?
Basically,
And
kids going through puberty, and
that's it.
and the problems that they face, and they've all got monsters that help them through life. And
That's it.
they
The
don't
hormone monsters.
The sad thing is they don't shy away from any of the problems you might have as a teenager growing up.
Mm-hmm.
It's very graphic. It's all animated and it's horrible.
And you're watching it thinking, thank fuck it's animated, because
Well, we'd
would
all be
not
on
get
lists.
away with this in live action.
I'm amazed that Netflix make it, to be quite honest with you. But I was saying to my other half that I feel that Big Mouth is what South Park wanted to be and then forgot South Park has forgotten what it started to be now, in my
Okay.
opinion. I don't.
Okay,
I think South Park's lost its edge, whereas Big Mouth, 5 series in, maybe 20 odd episodes, it's still fresh and it's still this is so wrong, so wrong.
Okay, I think maybe the thing with South Park is they over the years have changed that show into a vehicle for them to discuss things. You know.
Okay,
kind
I
of-
see. South Park
see what I mean?
did become quite relevant to the political and news world, maybe, and modern.
Yeah.
What's the word?
The current-
Popular culture,
current
funny
events.
enough. Current
Well, yeah.
events. That's the words.
So I think they kind of started out as a shocking. They didn't even start out as a shocking thing, but when they started out, they were perceived as this shocking program about kids, and then they kind of started sneaking in these kind of social commentary kind of things. Like there was an episode. It's an old one now, but where all the characters were getting really excited because there was a high-profile network cop show where they were going to say the word shit on it. Right, and I think it was based on some real world controversy about, I think it was like NYPD Blue or something like that, one of the big network shows, and it was one of the first network shows to have swearing on it. Okay, so South Park kind of took the piss out of all the hysteria around that, right? And they've covered obviously religion, where they've got into trouble around that. The last few years with Trump, they've really gone to town on that. They've had the last couple of specials about the pandemic and things. So I think they've always wanted to be able to get those kind of things into it.
Okay.
Whereas they've always wanted to have use this quote unquote childish, immature, rude cartoon about the kids as a vehicle to say things about what in society, right? Whereas I think Big Mouth just wants to be rude, weird, and funny.
And I'm here for it.
No, absolutely.
And I
mean,
hate myself for admitting it, but it is
absolutely,
funny as
yeah.
hell.
And it's not a criticism of either show, because I really enjoy Big Mouth and I love South Park.
Oh, and I'll slag off South Park. That's the hill I'll die on. Don't worry. It was funny in the early 2000s, but now, fuck, no.
But yeah, no, I see what you mean. Yes, but no, okay, I will catch up with Big Mouth. I've got a couple of seasons to catch up on, I think, but I'm glad it's still going, because Netflix have this habit, don't they, of giving a show 2 or 3 seasons and then just canning it.
Yeah, with no explanation and no closure.
For no apparent, that's it. Whereas they let, like BoJack Horseman, right?
Yes.
Fantastic show, and that went to some dark places. And again, that touched on, depression and addiction and all that kind of thing in a way that you wouldn't expect it to. But they let it kind of tell its story. It didn't feel like the ending was rushed. They kind of allowed it to go on for as long as it needed to go on. So Netflix are weird like that, where they'll give a show that you maybe wouldn't expect them to a kind of a long run to tell its story, and yet another one that you think this must be really popular, like the OA, right? There was a couple of years ago. It had this huge following, a big kind of debut. It was one season and that was it.
How dare they?
But do you know what I mean?
It's odd. Ridiculous.
It is odd, some of their decisions.
We as viewers and consumers will invest literally days of our lives plumbing their nonsense into our eye holes and ear holes, and we get invested in these characters and the stories and the worlds that these people build for our pleasure, and it's heartbreaking when you don't get that closure. Like I never watched it, but Firefly always comes to mind because I see it get taken the piss out of all the time. That never got closure, and then they made Serenity, and that was part of it, I think. I don't know. I didn't watch it.
It was, that kind of finished things off,
You look at Lost. People loved the show, and then when it ended, they went, that was rubbish. What a waste of time that was. Dexter.
Not if they had any taste, they didn't, because Lost remains one of the best TV shows ever made.
Oh, it's Alien 3 all over again, isn't it? Have a day off.
But I think some shows don't get the chance to kind of
I missed my
tell
point
the story
there.
they need to tell.
My point was, we invest in all these characters and stories, la 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 la, and Netflix go, no, we say it's enough, have enough. And then my point was going to be, there are these shows that have the time and still balls it up.
No, some definitely do. But it's good to see that Big Mouth's still going. That's good to see.
For now.
Okay, so that's what's been kind of happening this week in our viewing and listening world. So just a quick catch up here on our feature, our new regular feature.
I've heard this feature is really popular.
I think so. It's the feature, has Dan seen Die Hard yet? So, Dan, have you seen Die Hard yet?
I'm going to do a run-up for this one.
Go on.
Oh. No.
Okay, right, let's move on. So, our second most popular feature, the movie quote quiz.
Roll the jingle!
Jingle jangle.
It's Dan versus Mark. Quiz part 3, because we're drawing at the moment, so the quiz is nice and easy if you just jumped in at episode 3, which is again weird. But I'm going to put quotes to Mark from films. He's got to guess the film. He'll retort. I'll get them all wrong, and I'll go have a cry about it later.
To be fair, the first one was very much like that.
Yeah.
Certainly last week, you had a really good comeback last week.
I thought so. We're allowing clues now, which is fun.
We are. The clues are there. So you got, I think, most of yours last week, and I actually got some wrong. So we kind of even the score.
It's anyone's game. And at the end of the series of podcasts, we'll announce a winner, and they'll get a pat on the back. I don't know.
That's it.
Okay, I'll start.
All right, go for it.
Quote number 1. Damn it, man, I'm a doctor, not a torpedo technician.
Well, it's got to be Star Trek.
It's been quite a few over the years.
Star Trek. Is it one of the films?
It's a movie quote quiz.
Oh yeah, class. Okay. Star Trek 2. No.
Wait, before you submit your final answer, what is the title of Star Trek 2?
I'm changing my answer though.
Go for it. Don't take my help. Do what you want.
Star Trek Into Darkness.
That is Star Trek 2 though, but yes, you got that correct.
Well, I meant Star Trek. The original one, I meant Wrath of Khan, Star Trek 2.
Oh.
But then...
Well done.
Into
you
Darkness.
Get a point.
Okay.
Well done.
Okay, my turn.
No.
Looks like I picked the wrong week to quit sniffing glue.
Oh, that would be the fantastic Airplane.
It is.
I've
Started with
started
an easy
strong.
one.
Started strong. What a film. Okay, here's number 2 for you. No wonder this circuit failed. It says made in Japan.
I'm going to need a clue on this one.
Okay, it's part of a trilogy.
Is this Star Trek Into Darkness again?
No, it's not.
Because that's the kind of thing I'd do.
One being obscure,
Yeah.
more and more obscure from the same film.
Part of a trilogy, okay.
Failed. It says made in Japan.
Is it a recent trilogy?
Well, what do you class as recent? 5, 10?
Last 10 years.
No, not 10 years. The trilogy started in the 80s and finished in the 90s.
Oh, right, okay.
But mainly late 80s.
Oh, it's Back to the Future Part 2.
Wrong. Back to the Future Part
what?
3.
Oh.
It's when young Doc is fixing up the DeLorean, I believe, for Marty to go back into the West.
And he's in the 50s, and he's like,
Yes.
yeah. Shit.
In the 50s? Yes, in the 50s. I can't remember that for a while, but yes, that's Back to the Future
55, wasn't it? Yeah.
Part 3.
Okay, right. My turn. Number 2. Nice beaver.
I've got an idea, but I don't think it's right.
Go on.
Because I think it's a gopher. I thought a Caddyshack.
Oh, no, it's... Do you want another clue?
I'll have a clue. You've had a clue.
Related to the first quote.
What, your first quote or my first quote?
My first quote.
So that was Airplane. Which was a parody film. Oh, I can see how... Is it Naked Gun?
Yes.
Okay, I went Leslie Nielsen
Yep.
on that one.
But it's also the same writers and director and all that as well.
Yeah, they
Same people.
took the piss out of everything in the end.
They did. Go on then. You'll go on number 3.
Number 3. If you don't get this one, I'd be really surprised. It's obscure, but it's one of the most famous films ever.
Okay, go on.
If my answers frighten you, then you should cease asking scary questions.
Is it one of the most famous films ever?
It's by one of the most famous directors ever.
Oh. Spielberg?
I mean, how many clues would you like? No.
Another one?
It's not Spielberg, no.
Clearly more clues than you've already given me. So go on, give us another one.
All right. It's delivered by Mr. Samuel L. Jackson. And don't just start listing his films.
No. Okay, so it's a Tarantino film.
Okay, so we've narrowed it down to at least 9.
Yeah.
Of which Sam's in probably, 7 of them?
The Hateful Eight.
Oh, no! That would have been Jules, Pulp Fiction.
Really?
Really?
Oh my god.
Oh, I thought you were going to get that. As soon as you
That's
said
been a long
Tarantino, I
time
thought, here we go.
Well, I thought, no, because that's the obvious answer. But it's a long time since I've watched Pulp Fiction.
You forget who's giving the clues, giving the questions. The
Yeah.
one that needs the obvious films.
Yeah.
Unlucky.
Yeah.
Disappointed, but unlucky.
When did Pulp Fiction come out? 94.
93, 94.
Okay. Right, my number 3. I'm not the first guy who fell in love with a woman that he met at a restaurant who turned out to be the daughter of a kidnapped scientist, only to lose her to her childhood lover who she last saw on a deserted island, who then turned out 15 years later to be the leader of the French underground.
I mean, just for getting that out in one go, and that's probably peaked to hell on the audio, but fair cop. Can I have it again, please?
Yeah, sure.
No, I'm kidding. I have to have a clue on that from the off. I've not got a Scooby.
Related to my first 2 quotes.
Oh, for Christ's sake! You can't have themes of quotes. I'm sorry, that's just bollocks.
I don't believe I saw that written down in the rules anywhere.
We should have written some cocking rules, right? Naked Gun 2.5.
No.
I haven't got a clue. The only other thing I could think of is Hot Shots.
Oh, yeah, that's one that not everyone remembers. Good film. No, it was Top Secret.
Never heard of it, unfortunately.
You should really check it out. It's as good as Airplane.
Oh,
And it's
interesting.
the same team again, and it's brilliant.
Is the premise James Bond, Mickey Take kind of thing?
It's kind of an American musician played by Val Kilmer is in Nazi-occupied France. It's like a war thing. It's just, as with all of these, it kind of throws in bits of every genre, but it's like a World War II spoof, then with bits of like the Elvis rock and roll films
Oh,
kind
cool.
of thrown in and all that. It's very, very funny.
Okay, I'll make sure to check that out.
Okay. Right, your go on.
Oh man, midnight, baseball bats and boogeymen. Beautiful.
I'm going to need another clue on this one.
Okay, so let's think about a range of clues you could possibly have. You can have the actor that delivered said line. You could have the genre, or you can have the studio.
Let's go with the studio.
The studio would be New Line Cinema.
Nightmare on Elm Street?
It is. Fair play.
Okay.
Which
That was a guess. But okay.
After
cool,
watching the movies that made us on Netflix, I found out that A Nightmare on Elm Street basically born New Line Cinema, I believe, and you can fact check that when you edit this.
No, it was known for a long time as the studio that Freddie built.
Correctamundo, and what a delightful studio it became.
Indeed, absolutely. Okay, here's my number 4. Where does he get those wonderful toys?
I don't know if you've pulled last week and the week before, or it's still related to...
Oh no, this is nothing to do with the others.
So it's not Die Hard, and it's nothing to do with playing in those parody films.
Nope.
By saying it's not Die Hard, it's not related to any of the sequels either, right?
No.
Good,
No.
right, I'm glad we've moved on from that joke. Where does he get his toys?
Where does he get those wonderful toys?
Where does he get those wonderful toys? I don't know at all, so I'll have to have a clue, please.
Superhero movie. Big
Ooh.
superhero movie.
Well, the biggest superhero movie's got to be Superman. But no, I guess it's not Superman.
I didn't say the biggest, I just said a big superhero movie.
Yeah, I know, but I'm thinking of big superhero movies, and Superman is a big superhero.
It is, undeniably.
Okay, can I have DC or Marvel, please?
DC.
Ooh-wee.
So we're narrowing it down quite a lot there, to be fair.
Yeah, but I could say Superman, and that's still 10 films. I haven't got a foggiest.
Batman.
Which bloody one?
Tim Burton, first one, Batman, where Batman rescues Vicky Vale from the art gallery, or the museum, and he slides through and, goes down the zipline cable. Mm-hmm. And Joker goes, where does he get those wonderful toys?
That's a very famous film I've seen once, maybe over a Christmas period.
Your turn, number 5.
My list is growing very long of films I have to watch now.
Yes. Go on,
okay,
number 5.
Much like your quote in the first movie quiz we did, this is 2 people talking.
Okay.
So character 1. This is either madness or brilliance. In which character 2 replies, it's remarkable how often those 2 traits coincide. So the quote as a whole, this is either madness or brilliance. It's remarkable how often those 2 traits coincide.
I'm going to have to go for another clue here. You've got some good ones this week.
Okay, so this is, by stretch of modern films, now quite old. So this is, probably nearing 20 years old.
Mm-hmm.
It's gone on to be a huge franchise for the studio that made it. And there's one more clue if you can't get it from any of that. Which I'm not going to tell you until you ask me for it. But,
A huge franchise as in massively successful or just like long-running?
I mean, I'd go a bit of both. It's probably not as profitable as it once was. But it did make a lot of money for the studio.
Go on, give us one more clue.
Common misconception. People think The Ride was based on this film.
What ride?
Exactly.
There's a ride with the same. So there's a ride with the same name.
Well, there could be. Take what you want from it, mate.
Oh, Christ.
Guess the theme park fan amongst us, listeners.
Yeah, I think we've found that.
You're not having any more clues. You're not getting a point if you can't get it.
I honestly don't know.
You sure you don't want to hazard a guess? Think of the theme parks in this world that might be tied to a giant multi-billion-dollar studio that might have had a franchise that made them lots of money back in the day and has slowly pitted off the world. There's a ride based on it.
I know as soon as you say it, I'm just going to go, but I don't know.
I'll
Go
put
on.
you out of your misery.
Yeah.
Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh, Christ, yes.
So, fun fact, when I was in the Magic Kingdom recently, and by recently, a couple of years ago, we were in the queue, and this mum turned round to their kid and said, "Ah, yes, this is the ride they built after the films came out." And me and my wife looked at each other, and even she went, "This has been here since, what, the 70s?" Like, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like correcting people in public, but I nearly went, really?
Yeah. No, I don't think I'd have been able to keep my mouth shut on that one.
It got retrofitted with all 2 Johnny Depp bits in it.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
they did update it, yeah.
And
which
it's
might
only
be
the
why.
more recent Pirates of the Caribbean rides, I think in Shanghai and Beijing, that is basically built around the Johnny Depp saga. So it's got the Flying Dutchman and all that jazz. But the one in Orlando, and I think the one in Los Angeles, just has a few Johnny Depp animatronics.
Right. Okay.
Anyway, gone off piece there. Let's calculate those scores.
Excuse me, there's one left for me.
Oh, I thought I was going
last
to win
one.
it anyway, but okay.
Last one.
I can't count. I forgot who went first. This segment's been going on for 20 minutes.
He won't be joining us for the rest of his life.
Oh, see, I played my Die Hard card too early, thinking you'd finished. Because you don't learn, that's Die Hard.
Yeah.
Ah, so you don't learn! Easy point! Easy point! Right, let's count up those scores. How'd I get on?
You got the first one, easily. You got Naked Gun with a good guess. You didn't get the third one. You didn't get the fourth one. You did get Die Hard. So you got 3.
I'll take that.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm going to give you Star Trek Into Darkness. Fair play. That was quite good.
Mm-hmm.
I can't give you Back to the Future. Certainly
No.
can't give you Pulp Fiction because they're about 20 years apart.
Yep.
Nightmare on Elm Street, very good effort.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Can't give you the last one either after all those clues. So,
You're the winner this week.
yes. Let's just say it again. Just say it one more time.
You're the winner this
One
week.
more time.
You're the winner.
Oh, it's a beautiful day.
But
It's
only
a
this week.
Beautiful day. Oh, shit, yes. Well, that was the last time we're going to play the movie quote quiz game.
For now. We'll see.
Moving on.
So, a couple of things that's been going on this week. A couple of things I want to kind of go through, and then I'll hand over to you. But Rogue Squadron, the Patty Jenkins Star Wars film, has been delayed.
I saw they cited a reason as to why.
They didn't initially, but I think it seems like it's scheduling conflicts, especially given that also this week it's been announced that Linda Carter is joined the cast of Wonder Woman 3.
So she's about to be very busy.
So it looks just like the Patty Jenkins has kind of got 2 films juggling in terms of script and pre-production and so on, and it seems like Wonder Woman is ready to go first. The release date for Rogue Squadron, which was December 2023, that hasn't changed yet, but obviously it could do. It was due to go into production next year, but it's on hold for now. So
Sticking
we'll
with
see.
the Star... Go on, sorry.
Go on, yeah.
So sticking with the Star Wars universe. Now, I haven't really looked into this because why would I? I don't run a podcast or anything. A friend told me that we could see Kenobi trailer dropping on Disney Day.
I've heard that as well, and
Interesting.
I think they're probably right. I think we'll probably get that. Maybe a bit of a sneak of Mandalorian season 3. Maybe another trailer for Boba Fett.
I was about to say, the Book of Boba Fett trailer, but that's the 3rd trailer. I couldn't remember looking at trailers yesterday.
Yeah.
So I've seen the Afterlife trailer, amazing, and I saw the other one we spoke about. I can't remember what it was.
Me neither.
Stranger Things, that's the bugger.
Right.
Book of Boba Fett, I shall watch that later.
Yes.
But
so
yes.
I think you're probably right, or your friend is probably right. I'm sure we'll see something. There's Andor as well, the Cassian Andor Rogue One.
I reckon we could get
show.
a snippet of that because I think that's coming out after Kenobi, isn't it?
It is, but I think they are filming it already, aren't they? So I think there'll be something to show of that. So yeah, we could get quite a few
As long as
Star Warsy bits.
As long as Mr. McGregor turns up and just goes, "Hello there," I
Hello.
will be very happy. And I'll be stood
Yes.
there with my Force FX or whatever they're called, the Black FX lightsaber that I have downstairs. Oh my god, I will be stood
Because you're
there.
a massive fucking nerd.
It was a anniversary gift. It came all the
Don't
way
want
from
excuses. Don't want excuses.
China. There was no chance I was going to spend that amount of money on a light up torch, but somebody else buying it for me. Crack on.
So one of the other things that just kind of came, I think, yesterday was news, and I think it was possibly slightly misreported initially in the headlines, but news that Weta Digital, which is Peter Jackson's digital effects company, is being bought by Unity, which is a video game software company. So
Okay.
initially that was like, oh my god, they're kind of, because they're buying Weta Digital, because there's obviously there's Weta Workshop, who deal with the physical effects, makeup, costumes, miniatures, and so on, and then there's Weta Digital, who do the special effects, the digital effects. And the kind of big thing was, oh my god, what's going to happen to that now? They're being bought by a game software company. But I did a bit more reading into it, and it appears that the Weta Digital is not the whole company is being bought by Unity. They're buying the technology side of it, so the tooling and so on. That will be known as Weta Digital, as a kind of subsidiary of Unity. The special effects part, the part that works on the film visual effects, isn't part of that sale, and they will carry on as they are now, and they'll just be called Weta FX. But it seems like this might be a kind of Unity using this technology as a kind of maybe a bit of a challenger to Unreal Engine, because obviously they've come along in leaps and bounds, like The Mandalorian and all the other stuff recently, with these virtual sets and the big LED screens and whatnot. So it seems like Unity want to make a lot of Weta's proprietary private tools available to like the wider visual effects community.
Very interesting one to watch over the next couple of years then, if that's the case.
Because
the amount of people because Unity itself is an open source model, isn't it?
I think I'm not familiar enough with them, to be honest, so I
Okay.
couldn't say. But it's certainly an interesting one, because when you look at the tools that Weta have developed, because there was nothing that existed beforehand. So I think that, like the crowd simulation software that they developed,
Is that called
for the Lord of the
Massive,
Rings.
if I remember
Massive,
correctly?
that's the one. That's the one. So they've got the crowd simulation software that obviously pioneers in the kind of motion and performance capture, because you got I think they always differentiated in that motion capture is the bodily movements, performance capture is the fine detail and nuances in the face, getting the actual actor's performance in there.
I wouldn't have known there was a difference unless you told me that.
Yeah, I think during the time that Avatar came out, James Cameron was really going on about, no, this isn't motion capture, we're capturing the performances. He wanted to kind of make it clear that it was not just something that had been done before, it was like a new level of capture, if you know what I mean. So they had a lot of that technology, obviously, for Gollum, that was then refined on things like Avatar. Then things on like the first of the recent Planet of the Apes trilogy. They had, if not the first, if not the world's first, certainly the world's biggest at the time, outdoor open air motion capture volume, because they had the set built of the Golden Gate Bridge for the battle at the end.
Oh yeah, I remember that scene.
So that was done out on a set outside. And as I say, it was either the first time the motion capture had ever been done outdoors, or certainly the biggest it had ever been done.
That's insane.
It is, and then obviously that was then developed through the sequels, where they were just doing motion capture live out in locations wherever they happened to be, in the forests or beaches or just wherever they were doing it there. So those kind of tools that currently Weta kind of, I guess, keep to themselves, to make that kind of technology available to filmmakers elsewhere and other visual effects companies, could be a real game changer. Where they'll make the money, I don't know, but we'll see. But at least what people kind of see as the visual effects company, it does seem like they're going to carry on as a separate company. So then the other thing that's just come up, and I just want to quickly go on, and this is me potentially with my tinfoil hat on, is Black Panther 2 has been delayed. Production is kind of shutting down for a couple of months. So
I saw
Letitia
this.
Wright, yeah,
She's been injured, isn't she?
well, she was injured in August doing some, I think, a wire harness stunt, and so obviously she's been recuperating, and that's great, and hopefully she's getting better. But they're saying basically that it's taking longer for her to recover, and so they've done as much as they can without her, and now they're going to have to shut down production for a couple of months until the new year, when hopefully she'll be better and able to come back.
Oh.
But there's a couple of things there that have kind of got me scratching my head. One is that obviously, I think it's fairly widely known that last year she got into a bit of hot water around some, not comments that she made herself, but stuff that she shared on Twitter, kind of anti-vax and some anti-trans stuff that was kind of shared out there from people that she was following. And she kind of, I mean, she ended up deleting her Twitter account, but she kind of made one of those non-apology apologies, which was, oh, well, it's not necessarily that I believe these things, but it's, important that everyone sees all the different opinions that are out there and you can make up your own mind kind of thing, right? So it was one of those woolly, not really an apology thing. And I've just been reading today that there's been some claims that are obviously unsubstantiated, because these kind of things are not tend to be anonymous, that she was kind of carrying on with some of this anti-vax stuff on the set of Black Panther 2. And it's a separate thing. There was an interview I read with her last year in the kind of aftermath of the Twitter storm, where she seemed kind of happy with herself and at peace with herself, but kind of like she seemed that she could quite happily step away from all of this. And
step away from being what I presume is going to be
a big star. Yeah. It was an interview around the time that the BBC thing came out, that Small Acts, that series of films that Steve McQueen made, and she was in one of those. And she just seemed like, not that she didn't give a shit, but she'd be quite happy not being a huge big star. That was the kind of vibe I got from it.
That's interesting.
And I'm wondering if there's something going on here where there's maybe some positioning going on from either her side or Marvel's side, of either writing the character out of the film early or potentially even replacing her.
Well, they've got two big characters of the family in Black Panther to replace them, because obviously we lost Chadwick Boseman, 2 years now, maybe?
Well,
which was awful and tragic, and obviously scuppered plans for him to return in the Black Panther sequel.
Yeah.
However, there's a bit of me that the studio knew that he was unwell, and this might have been the plan moving forward. But, I think everybody thought that his little sister would don the suit.
Expectation, you see.
But that if what you're saying is true, then that's gonna really shake things up.
It would, and as I say, it's definitely a tinfoil hat thing. But
sure,
given
I forgot to put mine on.
But given the controversy that kind of kicked off at the time with all the Twitter stuff, it's the thing that you would expect a studio to distance themselves from. Look what they did with James Gunn.
Yeah.
Where those old tweets reappeared, bad taste as they were.
Well,
right?
They sacked him.
And they sacked him.
Yeah.
Okay. A couple of months later, he was back. Great. But they did not waste any time.
It was instant going, and we can't associate ourselves with you, I'm afraid.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And yet she's coming out. And the other thing as well, sorry, that I also kind of was pointed out in one of these articles, is that she's in London recuperating. They're filming in America. She isn't vaccinated.
She's not allowed to fly back unless it's on a private plane, I'd assume.
Well, she'd still have to go through customs. And I'm sure that there are restrictions on people coming in that aren't vaccinated to the States.
I mean...
So she could have trouble even getting back into the country.
there's going to be ways around it. She's not a pleb like the rest of us that need to go through these things, is she? She's a star.
She is, and I'm sure they'll be, take these number of tests, isolate it for a fortnight, etc.
Because there is the legitimate reason for people not being vaccinated due to health conditions. Definitely, but
it's just like these little things that add up, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I get it.
And it's just kind of thinking, I don't know, is there more going on behind the scenes than they're kind of letting on?
So I'll let you.
Probably not. That's it.
So I'll let your tin foil hat cool down a little bit. But I'm glad you brought up Marvel, and we're going to wrap it up very quickly now.
Yes.
Spider-Man No Way Home is out next month, and I can't contain myself. However, I don't know what the studio is doing now. The studio being Sony, because it's a Sony-controlled film essentially, made by Marvel, but whatever. A new poster came out this week, quite clearly showing the return of, by the way, this is a spoiler, the Green Goblin, which we kind of knew was going to happen, but they quite easily just shoved it down our throats.
Yeah, they're definitely confirmed.
I'm very excited.
I am, and of course there have been a couple of other less official.
Yeah, there's been 2 photos circulating the tinterwebs that show what we all assume is going to happen. Several variations of Spider-Man in the same room, but there's also another character that might be returning, which again I think most of us had an idea that he would, which is Mr. Matt Murdock, aka Daredevil.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed that all comes true.
So assuming the pictures are real, and I've seen them, they look pretty genuine.
There's one part of Matt Murdock that I thought his head looked wrong, but it's his forearms in that first trailer that came out. It looks just like Charlie Cox's forearms.
But they weren't, though. That was kind of
we'll see in
clarified. December. We will. And I think the one thing that kind of reinforces the idea that these pictures are real is that they were taken down very, very quickly.
Now see, I didn't know that. I mean, they were leaked by a chap who is a journalist. And my question is always, why aren't they proper screen caps? They're always photos of a really bad screen. But if they've been taken down, then, oh, geez, that seems legit.
I mean, the story he put out is that he kind of gets quote-unquote leaked photos all the time in his mailbox. Generally, they are really obviously bad Photoshops. Right? and he's posted those before. He's gone, look at this shitty Photoshop that's meant to be a spoiler for Film X, right? And he's that's what he does. He kind of highlights the shit that he gets sent, basically. And apparently he posted these couple of pictures and kind of said, do these look legit to you? They look a bit dodgy to me. And they could have been.
And they were.
And he posted those, went for his dinner, got a phone call from a contact who said, they're real, take them down.
No.
Right. And then later on, I think the next morning, had a phone call from Sony asking him, this is his account of events that is on his YouTube channel. I think he did a video about it. But he got a call from Sony asking him who sent him the pictures.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear.
And he fair play to him, he didn't give up his source, he didn't grass anyone up.
Because snitches get stitches.
But he did say, look, I genuinely thought it was a Photoshop, or I was not convinced it was a real picture. Because he even watermarked it with his logo.
I saw that.
And it's like, if you think it's a real picture, you'd have to be pretty stupid to do that. So I kind of give him the benefit of the doubt.
And I'm not even annoyed that if they are legitimate, I'm not even annoyed because we all think that's going to happen. And think about when it does happen. If it happens in the film, we're all going to go mental.
Interestingly, he did say on that video, apparently, that he was sent 4 pictures.
And only just decided to
the other two, if assuming these 2 are genuine, if the other 2 are, he said they're even more mind-blowing.
Oh my god.
So...
do those ones then.
Yeah. But apparently the other 2 are even more kind of, holy shit.
I can't.
I know. I'm really looking forward to it. I do think, though, given all the leaks, but as you say, even though these stuff's been leaked, none of it is anything that everyone hadn't already guessed anyway.
Quite right.
In terms of the Spider-Mans, the villains, Daredevil, blah, blah, blah. I think at this stage, if Sony didn't now release a second trailer that just said, yep, here are your 3 Spider-Men.
No, I still want it to be a surprise. I know it's not a surprise, but I still want that reveal to be as mind-blowing as Endgame, the return of the Avengers. Do you know what I mean? We knew it was going to happen.
I think they've got to do something in the next trailer that at least acknowledges something big is coming.
Just do the villains. Just give us all the villains.
Do you reckon just the villains? Not even like the silhouettes of the 2 other Peters meeting.
Nah, you're right.
Do you know what I mean? They need to give us something, because I think it'd just be weird if they didn't.
Yeah, no, I agree. Other Marvel, Eternals is currently out. I've not seen it yet, Mark. I don't think you've seen it yet either, so we
not yet.
Can't talk about it. However,
no,
it has been suffering with review bombing on Rotten Tomatoes. Mm-hmm. Which ties into the next episode, where I can't believe we're going to go down this rabbit hole, but it's episode 4. Who cares? Toxic fandom. Ooh.
Yeah, it's a kind of subject I think we may have touched on here and there as we've been going along over the last couple of weeks, and it is something that I kind of do want to cover a little bit more. Fandom in general, let's say, not necessarily toxic, but there's good bits and there's bad bits, and the good is good, and the bad is downright nasty. I've got a few things to say. I'm sure you've got your opinions as well. So that is something I would like to cover next time round, just to get some ideas and thoughts out there. And, I have opinions.
Jeez, I'm looking forward to that one then. But that's it. Episode 3. All done.
Yay.
Bosh.
All right. Ish, more or less. Editing awaits.
You know how to get hold of us. podcast@culturetrumpet.com. Any of the socials. And also, Mark can plug our Patreon.
Yep. Just another reminder, really. We have got a Patreon. It helps cover costs. We are kind of started to having to pay for things now. Not huge amounts, but, there's a cost there. So our options really are, we can put ads in the episodes, but I know they're really annoying when I hear them. So I do want to avoid having adverts. So even if just a handful of people can throw in £3 a month, that covers our costs, and it also lets us know that what we're doing is kind of, you're enjoying it and you want us to carry on, basically. If you enjoy it, head over to the Patreon. It's patreon.com/Culture Trumpet. £3 a month. You will, as a Patreon, you can suggest topics for discussion. You can submit some questions that we'll answer for you. So, and we're planning maybe some other things as well, exclusive episodes, uncut versions of episodes, etc. So, if you like what you hear, please chip in a couple of quid a month, and at least we know we're not completely wasting our time.
only just a little bit.
Only just a little bit. But yes, thank you very much, and we won't see you again. You'll hear us next time.
You'll hear us in your ear holes.
Coming in your ears.
Bye!
Bye.